And we are live. Welcome to the Political Orphans. My name is Nico Lagan, and I am a conservative. Normally with me, my co-host, Rob Ambrose, is a liberal. Our goal is simple. We want to create a space where people from all political affiliations can have a civil conversation and find solutions to the problems that we face together. What are our main topics of the day? First, Carney and Trump finally speak for the first time after the failed trade deal. Danielle Smith gives us her opinion on the Lindsay Ontario intruder case. Turns out that there are exceptions to the Nova Scotia hiker bans. Nova Scotia Sandcastle competition is cancelled due to dry conditions. We have an update on the BC ostrich cull. Air Canada, the strike of Air Canada wasn't just a win for workers, but a slap in the face of Mark Carney. BC denies Christian singer Sean Feucht a permit. And finally, this is a very interesting one, but Bonnie Chritchley seems to allege that something went wrong with the Battle River Crowfoot By-Election. Get your comments ready because the show starts now. Whoa, if you've noticed, I'm alone today. Rob is not with us. He had a doctor appointment. I was supposed to be joined by Jason Levine, but he is sick. So, yeah, it's just you guys and me. So please make sure to comment. Keep me company. Keep me company. Allow me to keep you company. But I want to hear your comments because it's just me today. So I want to interact with you even more since Rob is not there. So if you're on X, make sure to like, make sure to comment, make sure to reshare this stream. But the conversation, as you're going to see, I'm going to enable it because I forgot to do it. But the conversation is always here at the bottom right of the screen, and it's on YouTube. So join us at the Political Orphans on YouTube. Hey, it's weird. I normally have a super nice background for this, but turns out because I'm alone, it doesn't show. So, can I show it? See, is this better? It looks better like that. So, yeah, I want to hear from you guys. And yes, wise guy, yes, Chritchley is bitching now. Yeah, that's a very, very good way to put it. It's it's very ironic. You'll see, I'll show you the video, but it's very, very ironic because she seems to say that something went wrong. It almost sounds, and that's just my interpretation. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you guys are gonna see it different, but it seems that she seems to allege that she should have won. Like, because she didn't win, something went wrong. I might be wrong, but this is the way I saw it when I saw the video again. When I saw the video yesterday. So are we still having issues? Because, man, I listened to the recording of yesterday and it was brutal. I understand what you guys are saying, but it's very interesting because we couldn't hear it when we were on the show. But Sylvie seems to say that there's still problems. So, there we go. So it seems that, hold on, let me, you know what? We're going to do some tests together because yesterday was interesting. I'm wondering what it could be. If I share, I'm going to share a video with you guys. So just let me know if it's the stream again or it could be something else because yesterday I listened to the recording and I couldn't do anything with it. So let me share my screen. You guys tell me if you can hear this properly or not. And yeah, we'll take it from there.
Parliamentary Bureau, where we find CTV's Abigail Beeman. Abigail, good afternoon. What do we know about this meeting between the Prime Minister and President Trump?
How's the video?
Good afternoon. Well, we know that it has been weeks and weeks since U.S. President Donald Trump and Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney have spoken, and we are getting limited information about that call from a readout from the Canadian side only.
So it's still the same, eh? So there's definitely something with the stream, just like yesterday. That is so freaking annoying. So it definitely seems like there's a problem with the stream itself. So, because if you guys hear it and I don't, that means it's on their side. It's on the server of StreamYard, the company I use. So, yeah, I'm not too sure what to do about this, because if it's on their side, I really need to talk to them, because I can't fix that problem. But you guys just give me 1 second. I'm just going to check something here. Yeah, it definitely seems like it's on their side. So you guys tell me what you guys want to do. Do you want me to see if it gets better, or do you want to call it a day? Because it is, I've heard what you guys were talking about yesterday, and it is brutal. So I fully understand if it's too annoying for you guys. Plus, nothing I can do. Nothing I can do for the stream, unfortunately. So it's good right now. So it's really going to be on and off the whole way show like yesterday. Well, I apologize for this, but you guys tell me. You guys want to continue, because it seems like Alberta Independence wants to continue. What do you guys think? Good now? Okay, so I'll just continue annoying you. Hey, man. Wolf, your shirt's about the color of your icon's about the color of my shirt. So you, sir, have taste. So it's good now. Cool. We'll take it from there then. So let's jump right into it. So yeah, as long as you don't play a video, I'm happy. Yeah. Yeah, it's unfortunate that all of the stuff that I share is through video. But let me see. I'm just gonna, you know what? I will download all the videos, because I believe that yesterday when I did that, it didn't cause the problem. So let's just do that. Coucou's Quebec, we're under attack. Alberta is the leader. I completely agree with you. I don't think I've ever seen you, Jose. Oh yeah, Jojo Larousse. Yeah, I remember you. It's very hard for me to disagree with you. We're under attack. I agree. And I was talking about this with David Credin on Wednesday, and I was saying that being Albertan is almost like a sign of standing up for freedom. Is it me? What do you guys think? Because this is how I'm starting to see it. It's almost like being Albertan now means that you believe in freedom. It's very strange, but I believe that this is where we're going. At least when I think Alberta, I think Danielle Smith. I think the people that are trying to become sovereign, separate from Canada, and it kind of, I don't know, it kind of awakens a rebellious aspect. Just like, damn, it looks like they're standing for something. So is it just me? What do you guys think? Because this is exactly how I see it. Every time I talk Alberta, it seems like I'm talking about freedom. I'm talking about standing up for our rights. I'm thinking about, yeah, just standing up for freedom, because that's the only place it seems like in Canada that doesn't seem crazy. That seems that we're going into a place, that we're going in the direction that's closer to what Canada used to be. So I don't know. You guys tell me. Maybe I'm just extremely biased. Maybe I just like Albertans. I just like what they're standing for. But what do you guys think? Do you guys think I'm completely lost here, or is that what you're seeing? Especially the people that are not from Alberta, that are from the outside of Alberta. Now, I'm just trying to download. Oh, I'm gonna have to download the videos one by one. So let me see if I can find the first one. Yep, we're downloading. When you talk, hold on, let's see. What does Wise Guy say? When you talk Alberta, you talk about common sense and the will to stand up for it. Yeah, you know what? That is exactly how I see it. You're absolutely right. This is how I see it too. Alberta Independence is saying, I moved here for a reason, or for that reason. So basically, you're not from Alberta, right? Because it seems like there's a lot of people that are doing that are moving from, like, let's say Ontario and going to Alberta because of what they stand for. And I understand why, because you look at Danielle Smith. I don't know if you guys saw the video she the video that was released about her yesterday, where she addressed the intruder case in Lindsay. We spoke about this a couple of times, and how, because even Doug Ford said that there seemed to be a problem going on there, but there's a great video that came out that at least is going viral on my Instagram. I shared it this morning about her response to it, and in regular Danielle Smith way, she just couldn't have said it more perfectly. So it was absolutely great. It again, it definitely confirms that the only province I want to live in, if I am to stay in Canada, will have to be Alberta. It will have to be. So let's start with the first video of the day, and you guys let me know if it's good, if it's bad, because I downloaded it directly on my laptop to make sure that it doesn't screech, at least. Yeah, you guys tell me.
Bureau.
But hold on. So I'm going to start the video, but before I do, I'll take this one. Tammy, what's going on? Afternoon, Nico. I see you're honoring Rob's present with that pink shirt. Good. You're really starting to know me. That's kind of weird. That's kind of messed up. But yes, that is exactly why I put my pink shirt on, because I normally wear it at the gym. But you're absolutely right. That's why I wear it, because I had to gayify the show a bit since Rob is not there. So Tammy, you're bang on. Absolutely bang on. Sylvie's saying that political crush talking about Danielle Smith. You know what? That's the worst part, Sylvie, is just I like what she stands for. Obviously, she has faults, but this should be the case with most politicians. It's just such a shame that she's the exception to the rule. So yeah, I guess you could say it's a crush. I like what she's standing for. I like what she's saying right now. And you'll see in the second section of the show, you'll understand another reason why I like her. So here is the video about the great conversation, supposedly, that Carney had with Trump yesterday, because they spoke for the first time since the trade deal wasn't completed, which was almost 3 weeks ago now. But here is CTV. Is it CTV? Yeah, CTV News. So you guys let me know if it's screeching, if it's scratching, or if it's better when I download the videos directly instead of playing them from YouTube.
Find CTV's Abigail Beeman. Abigail, good afternoon. What do we know about this meeting between the Prime Minister and President Trump?
Good afternoon. Well, we know that it has been weeks and weeks since U.S. President Donald Trump and Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney have spoken, and we are getting limited information about that call from a readout from the Canadian side only. We so far have not heard from the American side, and I'll read you some of the readout that comes from the Prime Minister's office. The leaders discussed current trade challenges, opportunities, and shared priorities in a new economic and security relationship between Canada and the U.S. And that's language that we have heard from Prime Minister Carney before, the new economic and security relationship before. The readout also notes that the leaders discussed how to build on the president's leadership to support long-term peace and security for Ukraine and Europe, and that the leaders agreed to reconvene shortly. So you'll remember that when that August 1st trade deadline or deal deadline passed, the two leaders did not speak, and that's when Trump blanketed Canada with those 35% tariffs, and the Prime Minister had been asked over and over again when he would be speaking to the president, and he suggested something along the lines of when the time is right, when it's reasonable to do so. The president at one point sort of suggested that Canada called, but that they didn't speak to Canada, so there was a lot of up in the air and a lot of waiting, I guess, for when this call would actually happen. I noted that we have not heard anything from the American side. We don't have a readout there. from the president over about their call. But the Americans did put out a readout about Anita Anand, the foreign affairs minister, meeting with Marco Rubio today, and I can read you some of that note as well from that meeting. So they said that Rubio met with Onit in Washington to discuss everything from Haiti to Hamas and Gaza, negotiations to end the Russia-Ukraine war, and mechanisms to strengthen our hemisphere's response to China's coercive activity. So I just note that it's interesting there that we have heard from the Americans about Marco Rubio's meeting with Anita Anand, but only from the Canadian side, just putting out a readout just now about President Trump speaking with Prime Minister Mark Carney.
So yeah, I'm seeing some of the comments, and that's why I'm laughing. Ha ha ha! Angry Canadian says, ha ha ha! Productive, lol. No deal in perspective. And Sylvie's saying, Canada called. Hello, Canada, is that you? That's exactly my point. Like, that's exactly what I was thinking when I was reading this news this morning, or when I was watching the video. It's if Trump didn't talk about it, it wasn't that productive, because God knows he will post about absolutely everything that happens in his life. And we didn't see anything. And now they're saying that it was productive. Like, who said that? Carney, the same guy that was supposed to be the great negotiator to deal with the US and establish the best deal that we can have, couldn't even get Mexico to make a new deal with us. So I totally agree with you. The productive is all crap. There was nothing productive about this. And yeah, I noticed too, Sylvie, that she says they didn't pick up the phone when Canada called. It's like we have a big Canadian phone somewhere that it's like the bat phone back in the days. I don't know if you guys remember this. I'm going to age myself, but Bruce Wayne had a little phone, like a red phone, like the first original series from like the 60s or something like that. Is that what it is? Like there's a phone connected to the US, and when we call, it actually shows up as Canada. It's the dumbest thing. We all know that there's no deal on the table right now outside of the deal that's already there. There's not going to be a new deal anytime soon. And Rob is not here today, so obviously it's going to be more conservative. What I'm going to be talking about is probably going to be more, at least, conspiracy theories, at least for the layman. Do you guys think that that's the plan? That there's no deal in sight, that it's never going to happen, and Mark Carney's doing it on purpose? Because I've said it before and I'll say it again. He's just here to finish what Trudeau started. I don't believe in a deal, that a deal's going to happen, because he doesn't profit from a good deal. He wants to destroy the rest of the economy. He's not stupid. He knows exactly what he's doing, but he's blaming Trump for everything because it's a great excuse to have, right? So what do you guys think? Since Rob is not there, let's dig into those things a bit more from I guess more conservative or more not liberal. So what do you guys think? Do you guys he's doing it on purpose? Do you think it's just a big misunderstanding and it's gonna get resolved? You guys let me know. But yeah, Angry Canadian, I agree with you. I love liberals. They make me laugh. And yeah, because you're looking at what they're saying. They're still making it sound like we're okay. Yet, just this week, Trump put a 50% tariff on a bunch of Canadian products that had metal, so our steel or aluminum in it. 50% tariffs. And we all know that some countries have a 15% tariff because they made a deal with Trump. But like Doug Ford said yesterday, we can go to war at them, economically speaking. We need to somehow stand up to Trump. It's the dumbest thing, and I can't believe that this is still going, that people are still elbows up believing this crap. It's absolutely insane. Wise guy, Carney pretending that he has any kind of influence over world affairs. LOL. Yeah, that's exactly my point. But yet, if you look at the Liberals, they still think that he's the man for the job. So, Nadine is saying, yes, you're right on, brother. It's pretty self-explanatory if you take the time to just look at what's going on, right? Alberta independence, it sure seems that way. Yeah. I agree. It's, if you look at the actions and you try to interpret where it's going, and you assume and you know that he's not stupid, because when Trudeau was doing it, it was easy to blame stupidity. But don't be mistaken, Mark Carney is not stupid. He knows exactly what he's doing. He's a very, very smart guy, unfortunately. Evil as shit, but he is a very smart guy. Daniel Montreal, what's going on, man? So long as Trump sees Canada as being woke, there won't be any deal. Oof. Hey, that's a problem, because a good portion of Canada is woke. I hope you're right about that. I hope that's not the case, because, man, we have a lot of woke people in Canada. I spend half of my time in the US. Woof. Yeah, that would be a problem, because that means we'll never have a deal. Angry Canadian, OMG, why does my internet only buffer during this cast? Never does it when watching other things. Do you believe in this? Maybe when you start getting banned, like I have been on social media, like Facebook, I can't even create an account there anymore. At least I can't get mine back. I've been banned off TikTok. I've been banned off a bunch of them. I was shadow banned for a year on Instagram. I literally just got my access re-enabled to do lives this week, like on Sunday, and I had to call them after 1 year. So I get it, man. It's I get that stuff happening to me all the time. But if you guys are having problem on this stream, it might just be coincidence. But I don't believe in coincidences, so it could be something else, right? It could be that we're getting targeted, and if we're getting targeted, to me, it's not a bad thing. Being targeted is not a bad thing. That means you're having an impact. That means that people are noticing what you're saying. People are noticing that you're having an impact as well. So to me, it's a compliment. It is an absolute compliment. Just like the so-called conservative that are always talking shit against me especially on Instagram, that are mad at what I have to say because I didn't support Pierre Poilievre. I was automatically a liberal supporter because I cast vote because of my opinion. If I didn't vote for Pierre Poilievre, I was sending votes to the Liberals. So unless you piss off everybody equally, you're not really having an impact, are you? Before we get to the next subject, which is the subject I really wanted to talk about today, I want to make sure that everybody that's on YouTube right now, it says that we have 31 people watching on YouTube. Make sure to like, make sure to comment, make sure to join the conversation. Even if you don't like the stream, dislike it. Dislike the stream. I want to know what you guys think. If you don't like what I'm talking about, you don't like what I stand for, I want to hear from you in the comment section. If you're on X, make sure to like, make sure to restream. And if you're on Instagram, leave a comment. Unfortunately, Instagram doesn't allow me to connect it directly to the streaming platform, so I don't see your comments here, so I have to do them manually. But I'm getting a comment from Real Sheena Reynolds saying, would love to collaborate with you on a podcast. Well, you know what, Sheena? Get back to me. Contact me on Instagram, or you can contact me at the bottom. Oh, man, my banner's not even enabled. My bad. There you go. Look at the banner at the bottom, Sheena, if you're still there. And at the bottom, there's my information. And this applies to you guys. If there's a topic you want me to cover, you want us to cover, if there's somebody you want to talk that you think we should have on the show, let me know. Rob and I are here to make the show for you. So if there's things you want to talk about, there's experts you think we should have on the show, just let us know. We're for the people that are always here for all the daily people that are always on the show, that are always participating, you know this. But the whole point's to drive a conversation, good or bad. We want to have that civil discourse. So if there is somebody you want to have on the show, there's a subject you want us to cover, send it to me at the bottom, info@nicolagan.com, or tag me on X. Sylvie does that all the time. So send it my way, and I will happily do the research and get in contact with the people that we need. So yeah, I'm going to take just a couple of comments, seeing if before we switch to the next. Tammy is saying Canada has the most valuable natural resources in the world. It would sure be a shame if the WEF and elites were to destroy the economy so that they can take it overall. This is, you're pretty bang on. In my opinion, this is exactly what's happening, because I would argue that we have the highest natural resources reserve in the world, like untapped resource in the world. Like we have the lumber industry. Obviously, we have oil and gas. We have hydroelectricity out of Quebec. We have what's the other one? We have a lot of natural resources that are in the ground. Like they're finding uranium now in Nova Scotia. At least they reopened to look for it. But all to say that we have so much natural resources, the fact that we are not top 5 superpower in the world, even energy superpower in the world, makes zero sense. This is all due to 10 years of liberal policies, and I agree with you, Tammy. This is all done on purpose. Imagine if your goal is to have a one world government like the WEF, and you have a natural resource heaven like Canada at your disposal that you can use to supply whatever country you want with it. Because this is what's scary. If you have the optic of a one world government, that means that the whole world is under your control. That means you can start organizing different countries, different continents in resources. What do they have to offer the rest of the world, and just pick and choose what you're using, take it, send it to wherever you want. It's a very, very scary thought, but is it that far-fetched when you think about it? Because you look at a guy like Mark Carney, he is a globalist. He has no shame in saying it. He will admit to it any chance he gets that he is a globalist. So is it that surprising that the end result is to destroy the Canadian economy so that he can sell us the idea to join a European Union, to join a North American Union, to join some type of union that will eventually be part of one single world union? To me, it's not far-fetched at all. It's just a long-term goal. And in my humble opinion, this is exactly why Mark Carney was brought in, to finish what Trudeau started. So I agree with you, Tammy. I appreciate that, Alberta. Sylvia is saying many of my messages don't go through in this feed. Yeah, it's probably the X, because you're on X, or are you on Rumble? I can't see which platform you are. It doesn't tell me. But yeah, it's possible that they don't go through. Unfortunately, if playing videos is still causing problems like yesterday, either they have a problem or we are the problem. I guess it depends how you see it. Angry Canadian saying when he said elbows up, he meant up to vagina insertion. Too much. It's not too much at all. I say this all the time. Like it was, the old song. It was literally face down, ass up. That's what elbows up. Elbows up just meant this, and then elbows down is about getting fucked up the ass. So no, Angry Canadian, it's not too much. No, not at all. I think this is exactly what it meant. Wise guy is saying for sure Carney's doing all of this on purpose. I actually believe that he and Trump are engaged in pre-planned play. Carney, Trump, BlackRock. Do you mean BlackRock? You mean BlackRock? Carney, Trump, BlackRock, and Musk are partners. They're all working together. Would that surprise me? No, it wouldn't surprise me at all. Is that the case or not? I don't know. I guess only time will say, but it wouldn't surprise me either. They're all part of a club that we're not part of. So the commoners like you and I are not part of that elitist club. Now, is that what Trump is doing or not? Maybe. But would it surprise me? It wouldn't surprise me. It would not surprise me. Alberta Independence, what you and Rob are doing is very valuable. Well, brother, I really appreciate that. This is the reason why we do it every day. In all honesty, it takes me hours to get ready for this show, to run the show, to edit it afterwards, and to Oops. I have a damn button on my mouse, on my new mouse, that actually that goes back in my browser, and I hit it again. So all to say, where's the damn comment? I'm sorry. Oh, there you go. It's still there. But thank you. Thank you. We're trying to do it. We're trying to do something that doesn't exist right now, that we give a space to people to be able to talk like just the way that we do right now. And yeah, it's for the time being, it is definitely a work of passion, because there's zero money in this. I spend at least 5-6 hours a day, if not more, on producing this show. So I appreciate it. I appreciate the kind words, because I think we have a noble cause. And talking about noble cause, man, thank you. You're reminding me of something I wanted to bring up today. So as you guys know, so we record Monday to Friday, 12 to 2. I started recording with David Craden, a more conservative podcast. We call it the Conservative Corner, on Wednesday at 7 p.m. But we were thinking, and I mean, myself and Jason Levine were talking earlier, and we've wanted to create something between the two of us for a while now. But we're talking today after I came back from the gym, and I was thinking, if we set up a Friday night show, let's say 8 p.m. Eastern time to 10 p.m. Eastern time, similar to when Rob and I cover live events. If you were here on Monday, Rob, myself, Jason, and even Brett from a credit union in Alberta, I cannot remember the name right now, but basically the only credit union that chose not to froze bank accounts during the Freedom Convoy. We had kind of a mashup. We covered the live, but it was really just 3-4 guys talking about politics and taking a bunch of comments. So we're thinking that starting next week, so obviously not tonight, but Friday next week, we would have a mashup. So 4, 5, 6 people, depending on the week, maybe have special guests just show up, but very laid back. So t-shirt. I wish I could smoke a cigar on camera, but I can't smoke inside, obviously. But yeah, we were thinking like, have a drink, have a cigar, have whatever relaxes you, and we can have 2 hours, 3 hours conversation, just like we did on Monday covering the by-election, like we do, Rob and I, when there's something worth covering live, because it's mostly about the live event, obviously, but a lot of it is just a conversation between the people that attend. So we were thinking about doing that starting next week. So you guys let me know what you think. Is that something you would watch? Is 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern time? 7 p.m. No, sorry. It would be 7 to 9. That would be 7 to 9 Mountain time, which would make it 9 to 11 Eastern time. My apologies. So is that something you'd watch? Like a late night show where a bunch of people just sit down, talk the news, talk politics, but in a lot more laid back format, like Rob and I do every day, basically. So you guys tell me what you think. Alberta Independence, our newest member. Welcome aboard, bro. Welcome aboard. So let me see. I'm just trying to see what you guys think. Bow Valley. Yes. That is exactly right. Bow Valley Credit Union. That's where Brett's from. What a great place. So Alberta Independence seems to like the idea. Sylvie likes the idea. My hubby and I will be there. Oh, that's true. I keep on calling you dude. I'm sorry. Yeah, like a Friday orphan mashup. That's exactly what we had in mind. Late night show, great. Exactly, I'd go for that. So, okay, cool. I guess it's settled. It's settled. I guess we're gonna do that then. So, yeah, that was an easy one. Well, thank you. So let's switch to the next subject of the day, which Sylvie is gonna say. We're talking about my political crush, I guess. Let me bring up the video because I'm pretty sure I downloaded it already. It's about, to give you guys a bit of context, it's about the Lindsay Ontario man that was arrested this week and charged with aggravated assault for defending himself against a intruder. So he wakes up in the middle of the night, there's somebody in his house, and he defended himself. And the media went crazy, obviously, but he got arrested. And I've been saying it all week. So I had heard rumors that he had been arrested mainly because he defended himself with a knife. And I believe that it was a kitchen knife. And that's what I've been saying all week. And it turns out that I was correct, that it was a knife. So there's a couple of things I want to show you guys. I want to show you, there's a new video that came out this morning where they're speaking with the neighbor of the man that was arrested, Mr. McDonald. Jeremy McDonald is his name. And they also talk about what the chief of police said. And then after this video, I want to show you what Danielle Smith had to say about this. So here is the first video. Again, since we've been having problems since yesterday with the streaming platform, I downloaded the video. So let me know if this is working properly. If it's not screeching, just give me a thumbs up, thumbs down in the chat, or just write it. Really? I did not hear about that. Rebel News said the intruder had a crossbow. Well, funny enough, the news is not talking about that. So let's watch the first video.
Town of 22,000 people northeast of Toronto. Many here are only talking about two.
I heard, what happened to, Jeremy upstairs, and from what I understand, someone, broke into his place while he was sleeping, and they attacked him, and he defended himself.
It all happened in a unit above Jesse Kalavic's tattoo shop early Monday morning. Police say they were called to this apartment for report of an altercation. They say the resident, identified in court documents as Jeremy McDonald, woke up and found an intruder in his home. A fight ensued, and the alleged intruder, identified as Michael Kyle Breen,
There's the name,
was
guy.
airlifted to a Toronto hospital with serious injuries.
There's a lot of, controversy going on right now.
The controversy erupted after police charged both men. McDonald faces aggravated assault and assault with a weapon charges. Court documents suggest a knife was involved. Breen faces various charges, including possession of a weapon, break and enter, and failing to comply with probation.
Something is broken. I know if someone breaks into my house or someone else's, you're going to fight for your life. This guy has a weapon. You're going to use any force you possibly can to protect your family.
So I'm going to stop the video right here because there's a bit more to it, but it's like the first time I can remember that I agree with Doug Ford. Like, Doug Ford is absolutely right that something is broken. But at the same time, it's very easy for him to say that, but he's the premier. He should be fixing the problem. He has the opportunity to do something about it. Yet, how much you want to bet nothing is going to change. And since I'm on the subject, I forgot to say it at the beginning, but I found a lawyer by the name of Ateem Care from Charter Advocates Canada that will join us on Monday, August 25th. So it's Monday, that's the coming Monday, at 12:30 p.m. to speak about Castle Doctrine. So just like the Justice Center for Constitutional Freedom, my understanding is that Charter Advocate Canada is also constitutional lawyers that are fighting for Canadians. So he will be on the show to speak about the Castle Doctrine, but most especially about what I proposed yesterday. Because if you guys were there, we spoke about this. It was either yesterday or the day before, but if you remember, I just threw it out there that why are we not establishing US-style Castle Doctrine laws on a provincial level? Because if you look at the US is all by state. Not every state. A lot of the states have a Castle Doctrine of some type. Like they have some type of doctrine. Some don't, but most of them do. And so basically, it's not a federal thing. it's a state thing. So what's stopping us to do this in Canada, do it on the provincial level? So in this case, you have a guy like Rob Ford that's saying he would have defended himself, that the system is broken, so fix it. And this is what we're going to be talking about on Monday. So Ateem Care is going to join us at 12:30 Monday, August 25th. He is a lawyer that works for Charter Advocates Canada, they're constitutional lawyers. They were recommended to me by the Justice Center for Constitutional Freedom. And I spoke to him yesterday to give him some context as to what we would be talking about. So we will be talking about Castle Doctrine, and is it possible to implement it on the provincial level right here in Canada. So let's finish the video. Then I'm going to show you what Danielle Smith had to say about this.
The police, which laid the charges, defended their decision. Under Canadian law, individuals have the right to defend themselves and their property. However, it is important to understand that these rights are not unlimited in Canada. The law requires that any defensive action be proportionate to the threat faced.
We really need to know the details of what happened inside that home.
No, you don't. And this is my biggest problem with Canadian law. So under Canadian law, individuals have the right to defend themselves in their property, says Kurt Robinson, the Kawartha Lakes police chief. But then he goes on to say that, however, it's important to understand that these rights are not unlimited in Canada. The law requires that any defensive action be proportionate to the threat faced. No, it does not. No, it absolutely does not. So I'm really tired of lawyers telling us that. So I'm very curious to see what Mr. Kerr is going to say on Monday. But that is how the law works in Canada. It is absolutely ludicrous. Just like you see with Jeremy McDonald, the man in this case, he was arrested for aggravated assault. Absolutely insane.
We really need to know the details of what happened inside that home.
Defense attorney Joseph Newberger says it's too early to know exactly what happened inside the apartment, and says Canada does have self-defense laws despite the misinformation circulating online.
We do have sufficient self-defense laws that are broad enough that if an individual comes in with a knife or a gun and you are at serious risk of bodily harm or death, you can respond with lethal force.
Court documents show there was an arrest warrant out for Breen, the alleged intruder, at the time of this incident. Once he is released from hospital, he will be held in custody pending a bail hearing. Meanwhile, McDonald will be back in.
Did you hear that? Pending a bail hearing. That's the criminal that invaded somebody's house. There's a potential of bail. Like that again, our system of law is so messed up in Canada. That dude should be in jail until the process, until he faces a judge or a jury. That dude should not be released on bail. That shouldn't even be an option. That dude deserves to be in prison and go back in prison, from what I understand, because if I'm not mistaken, that guy was already on probation. He broke probation by doing what he did, on top of obviously being a criminal that entered somebody's house while not being invited. So here is the video I really wanted to show you guys, because it's so refreshing to have a politician speak like that. Because it's one thing to have Doug Ford tell us that something's broken, but there's something else having Danielle Smith say the following.
Facing criminal charges for defending himself from a home intruder. What are your thoughts on that situation?
Well, if you don't want to get shot or beaten up, don't break into people's houses. It's pretty straightforward.
On that situation.
Well, if you don't want to get shot or beaten up, don't break into people's houses.
I'm going to replay one more time. Just one more time, because that is the perfect answer right there.
Well, if you don't want to get shot or beaten up, don't break into people's houses.
Bam. That's it. That is done. Mic drop. She should have just taken the microphone, drop it, and walk out. That should have been the end right there of that video. But agree? Do you agree? Do you disagree? What's your opinion on what happened in Lindsay? Small context. There is a guy by the name of Jeremy McDonald, wakes up at 3:20 in the morning. There's a dude in his house. We now know that there was a fight with a knife as per Wise Guy in Rebel News, supposedly the intruder had a crossbow, but the intruder was severely injured, ended up in the hospital, and the home owner, or the guy that owns that apartment, the victim in this case, was arrested for aggravated assault. On one side, the Premier Ontario, Doug Ford, is telling us that our system is broken and something needs to be done. Well, Dougie, you have the power to do it, so what are you waiting for? And then on the other side, you have Danielle Smith saying that if you don't want to get shot, well, don't enter people's house. Pretty plain and simple, right? But both of them, as much as I agree with what both of them said, they need to do something about it, which is why I was so curious to see if there is a possibility for implementing some type of castle doctrine on the provincial level. And just as a refresher, it is true that you do have certain rights of self-defense in Canada, but the problem is that you're at the mercy of the judge. It's very gray. Like, it's not black and white. That's why I'm such a proponent of castle doctrine, because castle doctrine will be black on white, saying you have the right to defend yourself to any extent. You have the right to defend your property to any extent. And if somebody breaks into your house or breaks into your property, you have the right to defend yourself no matter what the hell that means. That's what we need, because quite often what a guy like Jeremy McDonald is going to have to go through now is going to be punishment enough. Even if that guy's probably going to be acquitted. There's probably going to be no charges. He's not going to go to prison, but he still will have to go through the months and months of crap of going through, seeing a judge, all the media cycle, all the media clowns that are not going to leave him alone, all the people that are going to send him emails, they're going to send him all hate because he had the audacity to defend himself, not even speaking about how much is it going to cost him to defend himself. Hopefully he has a constitutional lawyer that's going to help him out. I don't know, but at least a criminal lawyer, obviously. But yeah, just the process alone is often the punishment. So let's see what you guys are thinking. So Wise Guy was saying that they did expose the name of the intruder. Yeah, they said it in the video I just showed. I didn't catch his name. I tend not to want to repeat the name of the intruders or the criminals. Like, I don't want to repeat the name of school shooters for that exact example, for the point that they're looking for attention, and I'm not going to give it to them. I will speak about the victims instead. So in this case, I'd rather speak about Jeremy McDonald. But yeah, they did release his name. Sylvie's saying Dougie's worried about his cheesecake getting stolen. Yeah, Sylvie, there's no cheesecake left. He ate it all. Oh, come on. Nobody's stealing his cheesecake. He ate it all. Angry Canadian is saying, come into my home and find out what happens. Think of it as a game show. You either win or lose. I like it. I like the way you see it. I always say the same thing when it comes to that, is if you have the audacity to enter my home uninvited, you forfeited your life. Whatever that means. I hope I don't have to get to that, to go to that extent. But at the end of the day, my wife's there, my baby boy's there. No. There's lives that are more important than yours in that house, and I will do whatever I can to keep them safe. So that, Angry Canadian, is 100% you're right. And that's not a government given right. That is a God given right. Angry Canadian, my backyard has plots available. Yeah, do you have a pig farm? Because that is a scary thought. Having a pig farm is very useful, it seems like. Alberta Independence is saying, I hope with this being the big topic in the news will force change as far as defending yourself or ourselves and property. Yeah, I hope you're right. I hope you're absolutely right. And Robin, I think you agree with the cheesecake comment. Bumpy is saying firearm and criminal law are federal jurisdiction. 100%. 100% they are. But we're not talking about changing the firearm code. We're just talking about being able to defend yourself with legally owned firearms. And I don't know. I'm not saying that I know if it's possible or not. This is why I looked for a lawyer that specializes in castle doctrine that can understand what the implications are. Because at the end of the day, I'm not a lawyer, but I found one, and we're going to be addressing that on Monday. And I didn't ask him if it was possible or not when I spoke to him for about 5 minutes yesterday. I just clarified what my expectations were, because I don't know the guy. I've never recorded with him before, but he came highly recommended. So we'll see what he says, but I'm curious to see if it's possible or not. Pam is saying, at angry, as Ralph used to say, shoot, shovel, and shut up. Yeah. Yep. I agree completely. Sunny on Instagram is saying he's part of the problem, probably referring to Doug Ford, and I agree with you 1,000%. Sunny Monk is also saying, if someone breaks into your home and they are trespassing, they are at risk of being removed at any means. I agree with you 1,000,000,000%. And Chino is saying no bail. Agreed. 0 bail. That intruder should be in jail until he needs to go to court. And we need to stop catering to those criminals. We need to stop being so soft on those criminals. Just punish them as hard as you're capable of punishing them. Plain and simple. They deserve to face the consequences to their actions. Let me see what else we got here, because we got a bunch of comments. So Bumpy Johnson is saying, to play devil's advocate, proportionally is important even in America. Look at the case of the old man who shot 2 teens in his home while waiting in the basement for them to probably to enter the house, I would imagine, was the rest. Proportional. There's proportional as in if the person is leaving your property. Yes. If the person is on its way out, like you scared them, for example, and you continue shooting at them off your property, yes. But there's a lot of states that don't necessarily have proportional at all. That's why I said earlier, some type of castle doctrine. Obviously, the castle doctrine in Alabama and Texas and Florida is not going to be the same as other states. Granted, but at least my whole point with this is I want to see something black on white, something on paper that is part of our criminal code that says that these are our rights. This is what you're capable of doing when it comes to defending your home, defending your family, defending your property. I want to have some type of castle doctrine, whatever that means. And we'll find out on Monday if it's even possible to do it on a provincial level. Marilyn Haley is saying, Doug Ford flapping his lips knows he and all politicians are protected. Easy for them to say, yeah, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. It's always those politicians that don't care about gun rights because they have security with guns, right? Remember Justin Trudeau when since 2020 under his government, it was 1,800. It's estimated between 1,500 to 2,000 different firearm models have been banned. And it's easy for them to ban them because they don't have to worry about this. They don't have to carry those guns. They have security taking care of them 24 hours a day. So I completely agree with you. It's very easy for them to say that when they don't have to fucking worry about it. Therese Maupin is saying, Mrs. Smith is awesome with her answer and said it with strength and confidence. I wouldn't have been able to say it better. Like it was bang on. It was perfectly said. There was nothing else that needed to be added. You could have just dropped the mic and that would have ended it right there. It was brilliant to me. This would be my answer. Yes, Sylvie's saying this would be my answer. I agree. Angry Canadian is saying that security of the person is written in our bills of rights. Yeah, in our Bill of Rights, sorry. Yeah, I'd be curious to see. Hopefully you're here on Monday to bring that back up to see what our constitutional lawyer is going to say. And I'm talking about ATEM care. That's going to be here on Monday. So hopefully you're here and you can remind me of this question in case, or of this comment in case I forget. Bumpy Johnson is saying firearms in Canada are regulated for two use, hunting and sport. 100%. Firearms are not meant to be used as self-defense. Like I have both my restricted, my non-restricted licenses, and I also had my black badge, which meant I could compete. Like I could do those competition style, those 3-gun competition style. And yeah, you cannot show up to your non-restricted or restricted firearm license and tell the professor, the teacher, the guy that's training you that the reason why you want to learn how to use a firearm or the reason that you want to have firearms in Canada is for self-defense. They're not going to allow you. They're not going to give you a license if you tell them that. So you're absolutely right about that. Bumpy's also saying, Nico, try to speak with Ronco of the Bailey YouTube channel, Canadian lawyer who has argued before the Supreme Court of the issue of firearms. Ronco of the Bailey. I do believe that I have some connections with him of the Bailey. I'm just going to check out who that person is right now because I'm always... no, I do... he's from the NFA. That's why. That's why I know. Okay, I know the name because of that. Yeah. I think he is the Ronco of the Bailey, a legal news and information channel that deals with criminal and firearm weapons law. Yeah, his face is very, very familiar. So I definitely know of this guy. I'm going to reach out to someone right now to see if they know him, because that's definitely somebody I would love to speak. It's one of my favorite subjects is to talk about firearms, self-defense, castle doctrine. I absolutely love this stuff. So let me see if I can get a connection with him. Guys, give me 2 seconds. Let me see. Ronco of the Bailey. Cool. Great suggestion. So let me see if I can get a connection with that guy, because I know who he is. I've seen that guy before. Bumpy is saying Ian Runkle. Is that what his name is? Ian Runkle? Because I think that's it, right? Ian, let me just Google this. Ian Runkle. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I think that's the name of the guy. Yeah, Ian Runkle. Have I spoken to this guy before? Man, that guy looks familiar. So either I've spoken with him before or I've tried to reach out to him before and got nowhere. But now that I have a lot more connections in Canada, maybe I can get him on the show. So great suggestion. Let me see here. October 7th, dance party is over. Conservative tears are so delicious. Okay, sure. Not sure what that was about, but sure, cool story. If you want to expand on what you're saying, probably because I'm talking about gun rights, and unfortunately, I believe in self-defense. I believe that I don't need police officers to come save me because I have 20 years of martial art background training. I used to fight. I've trained so many different styles to make sure that I was competent in defending my family and not rely on a bunch of dudes at the end of a phone to come save me, just do the job myself. But hey, if that's what you call conservative tears, hopefully you never have to call the police, because you'll see that 5 to 10 minutes in the best case scenario is a long fucking time to wait for help when you're helpless. So, what's going on, Joe? Apparently, I'm the token lefty today. Greetings, all. Yes, you are, but we always love to have you on, brother. Let me see. There's a bunch of good comments here. So hold on. There was another one here. Tammy, let's see what Tammy's saying. Doubt the laws will be changed. The people responsible for changing them have private security courtesy of the taxpayers. We're on our own. Yeah. I don't have a lot of faith that it's going to change, but the reason why I brought up the provincial level castle doctrine is mostly for Alberta, because if there's one place in Canada that's going to do it, it's going to be in Alberta. Because I don't know if you remember this, but a few months back, Danielle Smith was talking about gun rights. She wants to bring them back. I don't know what's happening with it. I should do more research to see. I haven't seen anything come out of it yet. But yeah, the reason I'm really bringing this up, especially the doctrine, is really because of Alberta, and see if they would be able to implement it. So I guess we'll see. I guess we'll see what Mr. Keir says on Monday. Wise guy is saying every time the cops do this, it is just to make money for lawyers. It does sound that way. I say it's better if you have some intelligence to defend yourself. The lawyers just keep delaying your case so they make more. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of lawyer in the first place. So I'm not saying that there's not good ones out there, because obviously you guys know we talk with John Carpe all the time from the Justice Center for Constitutional Freedom. Big fan of that organization. We spoken to Lisa Bildy, that also works with them. We spoke to Chris Fleury, which is Jeff Evely's lawyer for both of his cases that he currently has. One is federal, and the other one's about the hiking bans in Nova Scotia. So love what they're doing. There are good lawyers out there, but in my opinion, lawyers are just like mechanic. There's great ones out there, but there's a lot of them out there that will take advantage of you. And there's not really a way for us to know, because we don't know. Most people don't know the law, and most people don't know mechanics, which is why it would be important for everybody to know that, especially combined with self-defense. But I agree with you, wise guy. It is the responsibility of a man to know how to defend himself, defend his family, and defend the people around him. So yeah, I agree. I totally agree. Sylvie's saying that she remembers him from the convoy. Yeah, you know what? That might be where I saw it. Oh, October 7th is saying repeal the second. So you're probably American. Repeal the Second Amendment. Never going to happen. But I always love when Americans will say that, when the only reason that you're free is because you had the Second Amendment as a Second Amendment. Because without people fighting for your freedom, you'd still be under the British Empire, just like Canada is. So you can hate it all you want, but it's very easy for you to say this when you don't know how to defend yourself and you depend on others to do it for you. That's called laziness, bro. So sure, complain all you want, but at the end of the day, you're probably just a small victim that will need other people to save him if something bad were to happen to you. I hope it doesn't, but at the same time, we both know that if those are your opinions, you don't know how to defend yourself, you don't own firearms, and you are as dangerous as a little puppy when shit hits the fan. So sure, complain all you want when everybody else is protecting you. Easy to do. I'll take this last one and then that'll be the end of it. But Pop-Tart Pierre is gay, Sparkly Fairy. Again, it's funny because we don't run a show like this. Like, we don't insult people. But even if you had at least, if you would have listened to another episode instead of just complaining like you're doing right now, you would know that I am not a fan of Pierre Poilievre, and I'm probably the guy that calls him out the most in Canada. So if you were trying to hurt my feelings on that one, yeah, not happening. So, and you'll see that most people here have an opinion about Pierre Poilievre as well. So yeah, good luck. But yeah, that was a massive fail. I'll take a couple more here. Joe Stradamus is saying police shows up to write the postmortem. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Like the in most cities in North America, their goal is to show up within 10 minutes. 10 minutes is a long time when you're being attacked. It's a very long time. So yeah, you're absolutely right. Sylvie's saying, I think Joe should be the token Rob for the day. Yeah, man, that would be interesting to have you on camera with a microphone, man. I'd do it. I'd be down to do that. So you tell me if you're down to it. Maybe we'll consider it next time. Joe's also saying people forget that the Second Amendment was written by a bunch of long-haired radical who just overthrew an ultra-conservative, dynastical, wealthy, authoritarian regime. Many lefties are armed. At the end of the day, I know what you're saying, but gun rights are not about political views, if you ask me. The left should embrace firearms the same way as the right, the same way as the middle. To me, it's a bipartisan issue. If you're a real feminist, you should support firearms because they're the greatest equalizer. So at the end of the day, the Second Amendment is all about defending yourself against a government that has become tyrannical, that has taken your free speech away. First Amendment, free speech. If you lose your free speech, you have the guns to defend yourself. That's all it is. And to me, it doesn't, I don't care about your politics. If you believe in gun rights, couldn't care less if you're liberal, you're conservative, you're somewhere in the middle. It's about being able to protect yourself. It should be nonpartisan whatsoever. And again, Joe agrees. This is always what's great about this show, right? Lefties and righties can agree on something. So good stuff, Joe. Good stuff. Good to have you on. Let me see where we're going with this. Oh, this is a funny one. This is actually a very interesting article that came out, the National Post this morning. And I had to share this because to me, this is so ironic that it really deserves to be shared with all of you out there. And it's about the Nova Scotia wood bans. So the hiker bans, as I like to call them, or the climate lockdowns, as I like to call them. We are, the National Post has released this article this morning saying, homeless people ridiculously exempt from Nova Scotia forest ban. It's been reported by CBC. Oh no, I've seen this website too many times now. They won't show me the article. But there's a way around this. There's a great website that allows you to go behind paywalls. I don't say you should do it, but you can. And here is the article itself behind the paywall. So here is what's interesting. So remember, it says that homeless people are exempt from Nova Scotia forest bans. It is reported, and CBC reported this, which is interesting that they even speak about this, considering that they normally protect the government. But in this case, Nova Scotia, remember, it's a conservative that's implementing those fire bans. They're not fire bans. Let me correct myself. They're implementing those forest or those hiking bans. But it was reported, I'm just looking where it is through the article. Is it the full article? Yes, okay, it is. So it's right here. So here's what's very interesting is that part right here. Turns out that the province Department of Opportunities and Social Development estimates that, it seems like Rob wrote this article. Estimates that an estimated, Rob, are you writing articles for the Toronto, no, is that a Toronto, the National Post? But yeah, sorry. Okay, I digress. It basically says that the province Department of Opportunities and Social Development estimates that an estimated 130 rough sleepers, so homeless, are still living in the Nova Scotia woods and cannot be convinced to leave. They've been visited repeatedly by a team of outreach workers who themselves enjoy an exemption from the travel rules. So they're basically saying that if you're homeless, you can be in the woods. So if you're homeless, you can be in the woods. You're not dangerous to wildfires or to start a wildfire. Yet, what's the biggest chance of somebody starting a fire? Somebody that is in the middle of the woods with his tent. What do you normally make right next to your tent to keep you warm? A fire. What do you do to heat your food? A fire. So they're basically, this is once again proving to us that this was never about preventing wildfires. It's not about your safety. It's about controlling who and who cannot go into the woods. They even say it in this article that there's some outreach workers that have the rights to go through the woods. So it's not about wildfire safeties or safety. It's just about controlling who can and who cannot go into the woods. And they are climate lockdowns. Do you remember the 2 weeks to flatten the curve? That to me is exactly what's going on here. And I'm going to tie it up with with this. Sylvie sent me this yesterday, and I think it ties up perfectly with the article I just shared from the National Post. And here's what I'm talking about. Nova Scotia politicians have canceled the province's largest Sandcastle competition because of fire ban travel climate lockdowns. The event, held on a beach on the Atlantic Ocean, has usually 10,000 people attending. This is not about safety. So this is the article that was sent to me by Sylvie yesterday. And just let me bring up the original article to give you more perspective to it. But here is the actual article. And it is the weirdest. It's not weird. If you don't believe that this is not about control, what is it going to take for you to open your eyes? Remember, Susan Holt, the premier of New Brunswick, said herself that it was never about hikers starting a fire. It was about hikers not getting the response from first responders if they were to get injured because they're too busy fighting fires. So it has nothing to do with hikers starting fires. It's all about who and who cannot go into the woods. It's that simple. And that article is to me, it's hilarious. Look at this part right here. So the municipality canceled the event, citing residents' safety due to the single lane access road. Municipal staff have determined that with continued dry condition and no immediate rain in the forecast, the risk is too high to safely move forward with the event. So now, paper pushers, bureaucrats get to decide who can attend or who cannot attend, who cannot go to the woods or who can go to the woods. Now they get to decide what event should be held or not because of dry condition. It's a beach right next to the Atlantic. The water is right there. Yet they now have the power in Nova Scotia to cancel a Sandcastle event, a competition that draws 10,000 people every year. Bureaucrats now have the power to cancel it because of dry conditions. Can somebody out there really tell me that this is not about control, that these are not climate lockdowns, that these are not the same type of lockdowns that happened 5 years ago, where we were told at the beginning that it would be 2 weeks to flatten the curve? How long is this going to last for? What's the next province that's going to start implementing those climate lockdowns? Is it going to be Quebec? Is it going to be Ontario? What's next here? Can you guys really still believe that this is about safety? This is about protecting the forest. This is about protecting you from yourself? Absolutely freaking insane that this is still going on and people are going for it. Bureaucrats now have the power to cancel events because it's too dry. So what's going to happen next? When it's above 25 degrees, we're not going to be able to go outside anymore. If the sun's out, we're not going to be able to go outside because it might burn our skin. What happens when it's too cold outside? We shouldn't be outside because we might die. Like, what the fuck is going on here? How are people still following these rules? It's absolutely fucking insane. And what's going to be next? It's only going to get worse from here. Absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. So you guys let me know what you think about this. climate lockdowns, or is this something that we need to do? Because I'm not debating, Nova Scotia, New Brunswick went totally tyrannical by preventing people from going into the woods. That's absolutely insane. Now, it was Labrador. Was it Labrador? Yeah, I think it was Labrador. That Newfoundland, my apologies. It's Newfoundland that they put ridiculously high penalties, fines, if you were to start a fire. If you were making a fire, you would get heavy fines. And what was it, like 50 grand? A fire ban is very different from a forest ban or a hiker ban. Where I used to live a few years back was in the middle of the wood. We were on a private area where it was just a private domain that was owned by a bunch of house owners, and the whole project was all log houses. So guess what? When it was too dry, we didn't have any fires because we knew what that meant. We were surrounded by forest. We were in the middle of the forest, and all of our houses are made out of wood. So I understand fire bans. I understand to tell people to be careful, but to tell them not to go in the woods, it's not about wildfires. It's about control. It's about climate lockdowns. It's about preventing you from going where you want to go. But the real question we need to ask ourselves is, why are they doing it? Why are they doing it? And what is the end goal? That is the question we should ask ourselves. Let me see what you guys are there you go. I think it starts here. So Robin is saying, wow, homeless aren't dangerous in the woods, but they are in the middle of the city. That's a very, very, very good point. Sylvie's saying sand might catch on fire. Yeah, you never know, right? You know what happens to sand when it catches fire? It becomes glass. So yeah, maybe it's dangerous, right? It's very, very dangerous. Let me see here. Oh, here we go. Wise guy saying, at Robin, I imagine it's probably harder to get drugs living in the forest too. In a way, it's a win-win. I don't know if it's hard. It's probably harder to get access to them, but probably a lot easier to use them, right? Sylvie's saying, I believe that Sandcastle competition has been canceled in the last... Sorry, let me rephrase that. I believe that Sandcastle competition has never been canceled in the past 10 years, no matter the weather. It's the dumbest thing. It is the absolute dumbest thing to be putting those restrictions on people. Absolutely crazy. Alberta Nan is saying it won't be in Alberta. See, that I agree. That I don't think this is not gonna happen in Alberta. Alberta Independence is saying it was never about safety. Agreed. We completely agree. Tammy, these are power plays. They're testing how far they can push us and how compliant we are. There was even an article put out by the Canadian military about mind fucking the public. I couldn't agree with you more. To me, just like the lockdowns that happened in March 2020, it was all about testing how far they could push us to how far they could push us while us being still. You know what? It's all about testing how far they can take it. Let's put it this way. It's really just how far can they push it and us still obey. I strongly believe that it is all part of the indoctrination process that's been going on for 100 years in North America. And they just want to see, are we going to be compliant? To me, all the tests, I agree with you 100%. That it's exactly what's going on here. Now, before we get to the next topic, I want to remind you guys, if you are on X, make sure to like, make sure to comment, make sure to restream this stream. This is how you can help us. But the conversation, as you can see here, the conversation really happens on YouTube. So if you want to be part of the conversation, and that goes for the people on Instagram as well, I can see your messages if you leave some, but I have to do it manually. So make sure to join us on YouTube at the Poli Orphans, ThePoliOrphans, the Poli Orphans on YouTube. Once you're there, make sure to like, make sure to comment, make sure to subscribe. And if you believe in what Rob and I do 5 times a week, you believe in independent media, do like Alberta Independence and become a member. It's $2.99 a month to support independent media. On that note, let's change the subject. And the next one is for Wise Guy, because this is something that Wise Guy has been heavily involved in. This is, or involved in, at least he spoke about it a lot. So when I saw that there was an update, I made sure to put it on my list of things to talk about. And I'm just downloading the video because I normally would show it from YouTube. But here's what happened. Here's how I got wind of the update yesterday on my Instagram. I saw this post right here. Was it yesterday? Yeah, it was yesterday. Or from Michelle Ferrari. My apologies. She shared this. Oh, I'm not even sharing my screen. Very nice. So Michelle Ferrari shared this post yesterday on her Instagram. BC ostrich farm loses appeal against avian flu cull. So I had to bring that up for you, Wise Guy, because I've been keeping a close eye on this, because it's absolutely ridiculous what's going on there. It makes zero sense to me that we are not keeping those birds alive, because for the people that don't know, for the people that are not aware of this, there are 399 ostrich that have been claimed by their owners, by the BC farm, that they are immune. They have built natural immunity to the avian flu. They were somewhere around 460, 470 of them originally. 69 or 70 passed from supposedly the avian flu. But it looks like the rest survived, and it is claimed by the owner that they have immunity. Here's a video that I found. I don't remember who it's for. It's from CBC. So here's the update from CBC on what's going on with the BC ostrich farm.
A federal court dismissed an appeal by Universal Ostrich Farm to save more than 400 of its birds from being killed. The Canadian Food Inspection Agency ordered the cull after 2 dead birds on the Edgewood farm tested positive for avian flu late last year. Dozens of them later died from the illness. Since be allowed to live, citing the potential to study the birds to provide insight into how to fight the disease. The case first made its way to federal court in April, with the judge at that time how to manage the threat of avian flu. The farm appealed that case, and now the Federal Court of Appeal has ruled unanimously against the farm, writing, "While we have considerable sympathy for them, the law we are bound to apply inevitably leads to the conclusion that this appeal must be dismissed." A spokesperson for Universal Ostrich says the news is devastating, but insists this will not be the end of their fight.
There's a lot of people that have the same belief system that we do. These animals deserve the right to live. They should not be slaughtered. And we have gotten flooded with calls from supporters all around the world.
She says the farm plans to file a stay order to prevent the ostriches from being killed, but admits the odds of the Supreme Court accepting their case are very low. The appeal was dismissed with costs at $7,000. The farm is now on the hook for those costs. We do not know when the cull could go ahead, but the farm is calling for supporters to gather peacefully this weekend. Janella Hamilton.
So the part that is very interesting about this, and then I'll make my point, is I found this article from the Winnipeg Sun. I believe it is dated from this morning, published August 21st. So no, that was yesterday. So I found this article speaking about the BC ostrich farm loses court bid to prevent avian flu cull. So I believe that this is what Ferrari was referencing, but the part that is interesting that I had totally forgot about is this part right here. I don't know if you guys remember this, but at the time that this became public, it had caught the attention of the United States officials, including Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. And I remember him speaking about it, but I couldn't remember exactly what he said. But I found the original article, at least that speaks about it, from May 28th, if I'm not mistaken, is when this was. Yeah, this article is more than 2 months old, but yeah, there you go. So May 28th, that's exactly it. Now, here's where it's very interesting, because read the title. RFK Jr. offers to save Canadian ostriches with suspected bird flu and move them to the US. This is something that the media doesn't really talk about. They don't talk about the fact that not only did he offer to save them, he offered to send them to offered to move the birds to Oz's ranch in Florida. And we're talking about have met Oz. So I think, is that not Dr. Yeah, I think it is Dr. Yeah, it is Dr. Oz, a physician and former TV host. So Oz had offered to bring them to his ranch in Florida, yet it was denied. The CFIS denied it. And tell me that there's not something fishy here. Tell me that something is not wrong when they are going to get rid of animals, of birds, and ostriches supposedly have a very resilient immune system. So tell me that there's not something very wrong here where, oh, Sylvie, you're absolutely right. It's the CFIA. Yeah, you're correct. The Canadian Food Inspection Agency. Yeah, good call. So tell me that there's not something really wrong when the people responsible for keeping us safe, keep our food safe, are trying to get rid of animals that supposedly, allegedly, have built immunity to the avian flu. Is that not something that we should study? Is that not something that we should try to duplicate? Is that not something that we should make sure that all the birds that are for human consumption have those defense, that they have that immunity? Yet, here we are in Canada, where the Canadian Food Inspection Agency is going to call 399 ostriches that the US has offered to transport to Florida, and so that they could actually test them. Tell me that something's not wrong here. However you feel about this case, about if those birds should be alive or not, can you honestly tell me that there's not something wrong here? Because very simply, I can tell you what the hell's the problem. Natural herd immunity doesn't make any money for Big Pharma. And that is why those birds are going to get called. That's why they're going to get killed. Just because Big Pharma cannot make money off of this. Because if they didn't care about the money, they would make sure to test every single animal to see first, is it true that they have built herd immunity against the avian flu or the bird flu? If so, how did they do it? And how can we duplicate it and make sure that all birds have that protection? Yet here we are, they're going to kill those birds for no scientific reason whatsoever. Let me see here what you guys think. Yeah, because I want to know what you guys think. We don't have Rob to share his opinion right now, so I'm depending on you to tell me what you guys think about this. I agree with Robin. It's sad that they're discarding real science. Yup, 100%. Destroying animals in the name of secrets. Yeah, that is very well said. This is exactly how I see it. James Capper-Larry is saying boycott CBC. $1.4 billion a year, bro. $1.4 billion a year is how much they cost us. Yeah, I would like to defund them. That's for sure. That's where at least we should start. Wise Guy saying CFIS. I would imagine that it is the CFIA that you meant. At this point, they're just killing birds to show no one is allowed to contest their decisions, so they won't back down. They plan on appealing again in a yet higher court. I agree with you. This, we've said this so many times on this show that often the process is the penalty. That is what will prevent others from going against the government. And I agree. This is a show of force, 100%. They just cannot show weakness, so they will go ahead no matter what happens. Completely agree with you on that one. Yeah, it's true. Huh? She did have really her eyebrows were out there. Wise Guy saying yes, it was denied because the birds are in quarantine. Are you talking about them being migrated to the US? Is that what you're talking about? Robin, wow, Dr. Oz even trying to save them. That's BS. They denied them. Yeah, I agree with you 100%. There's something very wrong there. Wise Guy, plus those birds are not food. How do they have jurisdiction there? That's a good point. That's a very good point you're bringing up there, because you're right. If they are not for consumption, because it's true. I'm the one that's saying that they're for consumption because you can eat ostrich, obviously. I don't know if it's good or not. I've never had it, but obviously you can eat it. But you're absolutely right. They are not for consumption. At least I never heard. I've seen a lot of videos and a lot of reports from those BC farmers, and I've never heard them speak about being for consumption. And I think they even mentioned that they were not. So that's a good point. Why is the Canadian Food Agency or Inspection Agency even involved in this case if those birds are not meant for consumption? Unless, and I'm pretty sure that's what they would say, is because birds could infect other birds. So ostriches, because by close contact, so let's say that I get in contact with those ostriches, I could carry the avian flu and I go back home to my chicken farm where I spread that virus to them. My food, my birds that are meant for human consumption. That's probably how they got involved. It's all for your safety, brother. It's all for you. We do it for you. Alberta Nan is saying these birds are part of a study, I believe, in Japan that the ostrich farm has been working with to understand how and why they survived. You're right. I remember reading about that there was a Japan lab that was actually working with them. They sent samples of probably the DNA or obviously blood samples to Japan, but I think you're right. I remember reading about that. Sylvie says CBC is getting as much from us as Zelensky is. Actually, not quite as much, but in the long run, you're probably right. Joe Stradamus is saying my poultry farm lost 750 bird on day 1, 6,000 on day 2, and 17,700 by the time the positive test came back. We ended up calling 6.2 million birds. Jesus, that's a lot of birds. Man, how many birds are on the poultry farm? Because I've seen poultry farms around where I used to live, and there's no way they had millions of birds. Like, they weren't that big. How many birds does your farm have? That's insane. Damn, 6.2 million birds. Jesus, that's a lot of birds. Wise Guy is saying they have never eaten or sold any birds. They insist they are pets. Really? Huh, that's interesting. We just now got back to pre-flu numbers after a year. So how many birds do you have on a farm? Because that's insane. Clown World, yes, the eggs are being studied. Yeah, there you go. I remember reading about that. Squirrel Nuts. So we're going to mass kill all birds and animals now, all presumably, maybe, possibly, could have something probably made up by someone. Yeah, I guess so. That's exactly how it sounds like. I'll take a last one from Wise Guy saying, actually, they're sending eggs, which they believe might be the key to giving immunity to other birds and humans, so that they can be a threat to big pharma. Yeah, you know what? Good point. Good point. We still agree on the end result that they don't want this because of what it means for big pharma. There's a few more subject, 1, 2, and 3. Oh, hold on. I'm just going to take this. Joe Stradamus is saying we have 14 million birds over 3 states. Jesus, that's a lot of birds, man. And what happened, if you don't mind me asking, what was the cause of the cull? Was it avian flu? Was it bird flu? Was it a different infection? Because that's insane, man. You guys lost literally half, almost half, but what, like 45% of your birds? That's crazy, man. But I wonder, what is it for? What was it by? What was the cause? Like avian flu? So there was 1, 2, 3. There's 3 more topics I wanted to show. So here is the next one I want to show. They're all going to be pretty quick. It's just more of an FYI to show some irony. At least in this case, I found it to be very ironical. But here is an article that was published. When was it? Yesterday by Toronto Star. So obviously very, very leftist media. But the Toronto Star wrote this piece, this opinion piece yesterday, saying that the Air Canada strike wasn't just a win for workers, it was also a wrench in Mark Carney's plans. So obviously we all know what happened. We all know that the flight attendant went on strike over last weekend. I believe it started on Saturday last week, where they went on strike. The government told them to get back to work. They refused to do it. And then they made a deal, and they're still negotiating right now. I haven't seen the official deal come through, but their union, which is the Canadian Union of Public Employees, refused to, see, it says it right here, instead refused to obey Ottawa's back to work order and continued to picket outside airports across the country. So they stood up to the government. And as the titles say, the Air Canada strike wasn't just a win for workers. It was also a wrench in Mark Carney's plan. But what I find funny about this is that the reason I wanted to bring this up is the irony in this. So they're basically saying that what they did, not only was it good for them because now they're going to get a better deal, obviously, but it was also a wrench in Mark Carney's plan, as in they defied Mark Carney and they ended up winning. So they're praising that as being a good thing, that the people, the workers, were able to win against the government, which I don't know why the government got involved in this. I don't, outside of wanting to control people. Obviously, that's why they got involved in. So, yes, I know why they got involved in it, but they have no rights. They should have no authority to get involved in private matter, because Air Canada, yes, the government of Canada owns something like 6 or 7% of Air Canada. Air Canada is a private company. So yes, they provide a service that is used by a lot of Canadians. And like I said, this week or last week, they operate something like 45 to 50% of all flights in Canada or Air Canada. So they're the biggest player in Canada. But the government has no rights to get involved in this. But what's interesting is that the whole article is basically praising the defiance of QP, or the flight attendant, the fact that they stood up to the government. Yet, do you not remember what happened during the Freedom Convoy? Which one was more affected? Let me ask you this. Who was more affected? How many Canadians were affected in the Freedom Convoy compared to this? Because if I'm not mistaken, it was in the hundreds of thousands of people were affected by that strike. But do you see the irony here? So people like me that went to the Freedom Convoy because we had enough of the lockdowns, we were problematic. We caused enough damage to Ottawa, it seems like, so that the Trudeau government could use the Emergency Act, have people arrested like Chris Barber and Tamara Litch, have people's bank account frozen, have people brought to court for mischief. Yet we have Air Canada flight attendant that were able to go on strike to refuse the government's order to go back to work, yet they suffer no consequences. And not only don't they suffer any consequences, papers, very leftist woke media like Toronto Star are praising them for the work that they've done. Do you not see the irony here? What we've tried to fight for the rights of Canadians to not be stuck in their houses, for truckers to be able to do their jobs and go to the US. That was not okay. That was a problem because we literally took over the downtown of Ottawa in protests. Yet those people, through 4 or 5 airports, the 4 or 5 major airports of Canada, prevented hundreds of thousands of people to go on their trip or to be stuck in a foreign country with nowhere to go because Air Canada wasn't providing their flight services like they should have been. But that's okay, and that's getting praised. I agree with both. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that the flight attendants shouldn't have been able to go on a strike. They absolutely had the rights to do it. If they believe that that was the right thing to do, awesome. I don't think they deserve more money, but that's my personal opinion. But that does not mean that they don't deserve to have the right, or they don't have the right to go on strike. But it's okay when they do it, but it's not okay when just average Canadians from all over Canada drive to Ottawa in order to have their voice heard. What's the difference? What is the difference? Really, what's the difference? So what do you guys think? Do you think they're equivalent? Do you guys think I'm full of it? Do you guys think that they're not the same at all? That those two examples I'm using are not the same? I want to know what you guys think about this. So Squirrel Nuts is saying, quit listening to the same people pushing the agenda. Well, you know, man, I listen to all sides. So I listen to mainstream media, I listen to independent media, I listen to conspiracy theorists, I listen to woke individuals. I follow so many different people so that I can get an idea of all aspects of a topic, a subject, a situation, so that I can form my own opinion and do my research based on the information that I'm seeing from all sides, and then come up with a conclusion that is my own, that is not something that people are trying to sell me. Joe Stradamus is saying, hit 3 of our farms in Michigan. So I would imagine it was aviation flu, right? Avian flu, or the bird flu. MC is lifting most tariffs in the U.S. By the way, Mark Carney is lifting. Oh, on the U.S. He won't have a choice. Yeah, of course he won't have a choice. Is that something that's going live right now? Is that something that's trending at the moment? Just on X right now. They're normally very good at showing. Yep, there you go. You're absolutely right. Good call. Good call, Sylvie. Just looking at my X right now. Let's see what's going on, because that's definitely an important subject we need to cover. So here we are live on the X. Last updated 34 minutes. Canada lifts tariffs on U.S. goods in bid for stronger ties. So that whole elbows up movement, counter tariff, dollar for dollar tariff is no longer in place. Was all for bullshit. Mark Carney, the great negotiator that was selected to get the best deal Canada can get, is now backing down like the little bitch that he is. Elbows down should have been the name of his movement from the get-go. But good call, Sylvie. Very, very good call. Because yeah, all those things like 2 hours ago, I was getting ready for this show, like the final touches of the show. So awesome. This is something I'm gonna bring it up. Thank you for telling me about this, Sylvie. That's great, because I love to do stuff that is trending, that's going on right now. So as a reminder, guys, if you do have some subjects, some topics, some experts you think we should talk to, some topics you think we should approach, we should talk about, let me know. Let us know in the comment section, like Bumpy did earlier with Ian Runkle, or send me an email. My email address is at the bottom, info@nicolagan.com. You can send it right there. And yeah, just let me know if there's subjects, topics that we should discuss, or there's experts you want to have on the show. But this is great, Sylvie, to let me know, because I love those things. It's all trending really right now, like 2 hours. So Canada to remove retaliatory tariffs on many U.S. products, Bloomberg reports. So there you have it. Yeah, that's I've seen this meme before, and that's pretty much how I see it too. Is exactly how I see it too. That is obviously Mark Carney. That's what's her name? Chrystia Freeland. That's the guy. That's the Frenchie. Can't remember what his name is, but yeah, that's exactly how I see it. So there we have it. It looks like Mark Carney's backing down from all the tariffs. So the elbows up movement was all bullshit. Good call, Sylvie. Very good call. Thanks for bringing it to my attention. Let me see here. Michelle Deveau, the workers are more powerful than the politic corporation companies. People are always stronger, brother. Not just the workers, but there's a lot more of us than there are of them. Like, there's a great meme where you have a bunch of guys that are on their knees with their back flat, and there's a table where all the leaders of the world are kind of sitting, drinking, and eating food, basically illustrating that they're all doing that on our backs. It's all because of us. If we were to stand up, that table would go flying, and those leaders, those people that are ruling the world, would have no power. So, yeah, I agree. I agree with you 100%. Private or not doesn't seem to matter. Canada Post was private too, if I remember. No, Canada Post. Well, technically, it's called a Crown Corporation. It's not a department of the federal government, but it is the federal government that's running it like a business, if that makes any sense. And Air Canada used to be a Crown Corporation, but it is not anymore. And I believe it was somewhere in the 80s that it stopped being one, but it used to be one. Robert Bard is saying it came down to money. The convoy were propelled who had nothing left to lose. Yeah. You're absolutely right. But I'd like you to expand on this, because I'm not sure that I get the full spectrum of your comment here. It came down to money. The convoy were propel who had nothing left to lose. Or propel as in people. Oh, bro. Oh, okay. Wow. Oof, that one went over my head. My bad, man. There's a little typo there. But yeah, the convoy were people that had nothing to lose. Yeah, you're right, man. Because I lost absolutely everything during that period, because I refused to take the whoop whoop. So lost my career, lost everything else, my family, most of my friends, couldn't teach martial arts anymore. So yeah, man, I agree. Albert Mann, the Freedom Convoy was a grassroots movement. Air Canada is a big corporation, and the unions have power. As much as I agree with your comment 100%, do you think that the outcome should have been different because one is grassroots and the other one is a big corporation. And what I mean by that is, remember, the Toronto Star that I shared the article from is a very leftist media. And you know that those people talked against the unvaccinated. They talked for the lockdowns, but yet they will celebrate that flight attendant stood up to the government. When at the end of the day, they weren't standing up for Canadians. They were standing up for their own personal interest. It was about their jobs and making more money. When the Freedom Convoy was trying to stand up for Canadians as a whole, not just certain people with a specific job. So my whole point with sharing this article is just to show that there's a massive bias, and it's showing, and this is just one great example. Danny D, what do you guys think about elbows down from Carney? Laughing my ass off. What a poor press conference. Good victory for the aviation industry. Yeah, I agree. Yep, I agree. Elbows down is how it should be called, so I agree. Nico's looking at his ex. I'm not sure I understand that comment. What was there? Yeah, I'm not sure I understand that comment, but hey. Robert Bard is saying, when you have your elbows up, you leave your balls exposed. I think elbows up mean you can double tag people. So, yeah, at the end, it's all the same, right? Wise guy. So Carney is now hoping Trump will reciprocate, maybe. We know that's not going to happen, but he's basically just showing, he's just going to show weakness. He's not negotiating from a place of power. So we, like Rob and I have been saying ever since this whole mess started, we have no leverage in Canada. That should have been the approach from the get-go, to just say, we don't have any leverage. This is the situation. You buy 75 or 76% of our exports. We want to make a new deal with you. We understand. Let's sit down. Let's figure it out. Let's sign a new deal for the short term, while in the medium and long term, we start developing ourselves. We start to become more self-reliant. We start taking advantage of the natural resources that we have in Canada, like our oil and gas, develop that industry to its full potential. Stop buying gas from the US, stop buying gas from Saudi Arabia, and buy 100% Canadian gas. Build those pipelines from coast to coast and down south to make sure that we can sell our oil and gas to world's market, because we have the third biggest oil supply, or we have the third biggest oil reserve on the planet, and we're not using it to its full potential. So the plan is easy. Make a deal in the short term while developing, being self-reliant. Oil and gas, for example, forestry, all the things that we have as natural resources, take the time that it takes to develop them in the medium to long term, because obviously this is going to take time to build the pipelines that we need in the case of oil and gas. But sign a deal right now so that our economy stop getting crushed, and then become more self-reliant in the long run. Pretty simple plan, right? YouTube user. Well, that's an interesting name. Don't forget Brookfield has control of Air Canada and WestJet Worker Union. I've heard that before, but I don't know if it's true. I did not research it. I'm not saying you're wrong, but I'm not saying you're right. I do not know, but I will take your word for it. Canada Post is a corporation since 1981. It's a crown corporation. The distinction is very important. Marlene Haley is saying, watch Moose on the Loose. David explain about aviation and Brookfield asset management. Are you serious? I'm a fan of Moose on the Loose. I listen to his stuff all the time to see what he's talking about. I like the research that he does. He's very knowledgeable. He does a lot of good research. He's definitely one of the guys that I look every day to see what he's talking about. Yeah, I'm a fan. I like Moose on the Loose. I'd like to have him on the show. Alberta Nan is saying, no, I'm saying the government came down hard on the grassroots movement of the convoy because we didn't have the power of the union or lobby behind us. Yeah, okay. Makes 100% sense. And yeah, you're probably right. You're probably absolutely right. Plus, we represented all of Canada, right? Not just certain Canadians, certain people that are looking to get better outcomes at their job, to get more money. So yeah, I agree. Sylvie, Nico, you said that you were looking at your ex. I was being silly. Yeah, that was 10 foot above my head. My apologies. I don't sleep well now that I have a 6-week-old son. So my brain is not operating at the highest capacity. Not saying that I'm that smart normally, but it is not operating at its best right now. So I might not get all the jokes. My bad. Danny D seems to be laughing at me, which is fine. That happens all the time. I get it. Danny D, I can't wait to see what the word you don't say about this. About which one? I can't wait to see what Doug Ford will say to help Carney. Yeah, you're absolutely right. We all know what he's going to say. Michel Deveau, elbows up means double standard. Ain't that the fucking truth right there? I will take a couple more comments, and I'm just looking at the time. Damn, 1:58. Man, this show went by fast. Damn, thank you for being here, guys. Took a lot of comments, so I really appreciate the comments, guys. Robin, we're going to finish with your comments unless something comes in right now. Robin, double tag people, elbows up. Too funny, Nico. Double tag people. Did I say that? Man, my brain isn't working if I said that. At least you found it funny, so it's good. I watched that yesterday on Moose on the Loose, baffling. So it was yesterday's episode. I'm going to try to watch it over the weekend. Yay, you and you, Daddy, loving the sleepless night. Lol, that's the fun part. Yeah, sure. Yeah, that's the fun part. Yeah, sure. All the feedings, all the pooping, all the crying. He cries a lot. Jesus, he cries a lot. Don't know if it's normal or not. It's our first one, but wow. He does cry a lot. On that note, guys, okay, I'll take Sylvie's last comment. In the end, we know now pink shirts affect your stream. Yeah, but I had to gayify it a bit because Rob's not here. So pink is for Rob. Have a great one, friends. I agree. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you for being on the stream today. If it wasn't for you, we wouldn't be doing this. So you made my job a lot easier since I don't have a co-host today. But I want to thank every single one of you out there. So if you're on X, make sure to like, make sure to comment, and make sure to restream this stream. This is how you guys can help us. If you are on Instagram, I invite you to do the exact same thing. Join us, share, comment, like. But the real stuff happens on the YouTube channel at the Poli Orphans for the Political Orphans. So make sure to join us, like, comment, and subscribe. And if you believe in independent media, we do have a membership program, $2.99 a month. Alberta Independence is our newest orphan. So welcome aboard. And on that note, I wish you all a great weekend. We will see you on Monday. And remember, on Monday, we do have a constitutional lawyer that specializes in castle doctrine to speak about what Canada can do to have castle doctrine implemented. On that note, have a good weekend. Peace.